Hello and welcome to Funkenstein Wrestling Radio Roundup. I am here. I have this very special episode tonight. I have with me CZW champion Matt Tremont. Matt has been on the show before, and we're always thankful to have him on. So, Matt, thanks for coming back on the show.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I know you're a really busy guy. You have a lot going on this weekend, and I know you don't have much time, but I definitely want to talk about something that's coming up that I'm really excited about, which is the debut of the Hustle hardcore organization this Friday night.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of promotion, and building a new brand and putting forth another product in the area that people will financially and emotionally invest into. And that is the H2O concept I've had for a long time that I've wanted to put forth, and the right place, right time, all the right pieces fell together, and a couple other people involved, and this Friday, the debut event in Woodbury Heights, New Jersey, and it's taken up a lot of my time and effort as of late, and but that's my job, and I enjoy promoting, and hopefully all that hard work will pay off after this Friday night's all said and done.
Absolutely. The name of the show is "It Was All a Dream," and I think the two sort of main event, and I think they're both main event worthy matches, are definitely dream matches. The very first one that I'll talk about is the franchise Shane Douglas taking on the War King Eddie Kingston.
I think definitely, like, as far as the name goes, it was all a dream. It was the dream of starting and launching a new promotion. That dream becoming a reality, and then obviously the two marquee matches, like you said, on the card that night are, in my opinion, two dream matches for us personally. I know for Kingston himself, he was a big ECW fan. Mm-hmm. I was a big ECW fan, old school wrestling fan, so I know personally why, he's looking forward to working with Shane Douglas. I'm over the top, looking forward to working with Kevin Sullivan, and I think the fans' eyes too. Our first two-time ever matches, two different eras. Two different, franchise players from different eras in the business. Shane Douglas was on top of ECW for so long. Eddie Kingston's been a mainstay and pretty much the franchise guy at Chikara and other promotions for so long. So it's definitely two franchise players colliding. And then myself and Kevin Sullivan will create some violence, old school versus new school. So now definitely the marquee matches on the event, the two dream matches. It was all a dream, and it'll all come ahead in 3 days now, I think.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it? It's coming up that soon. Yeah, I really can't believe it that it's that close. And I think that's a very good point about the franchise and the War King. Both of those guys were franchise guys for their companies, and both with their title wins. The franchise winning the ECW title, and then Kingston winning the Chikara championship, the Grand Championship, really sort of changed the game in those companies, and had definitely ripple out effects. And then Kevin Sullivan, when I was a kid, back in 92, he was a legend, even then. So it's exciting to see you take him on now, and see that kind of, he's very old school, and I think it's really going to be exciting to see.
Oh, 100%. Definitely as far as, cementing their legacies in other places, like you said, franchise ECW title, Eddie Kingston's Chikara title. I think, both of those guys were flagship leaders in the launches of two other promotions. That's why I hope to bring with these two talents in H2O and help really launch H2O as a whole. And, as far as putting forth a successful event on Friday and going towards the future, as well as Kevin Sullivan, a great mind in the business, in and out of the ring and behind the scenes. So all three guys really have a lot to offer as far as really, putting a stamp on this debut event on Friday.
Absolutely. Those are going to be amazing. And I want to talk about the other matches going on, because there's also some other great matches and appearances. And now, unfortunately, Joey Janela got hurt over the weekend during the tournament for Survival, Zandig's Deathmatch tournament. And then Thunder Rosa is also injured. So unfortunately, they won't wrestle, but they're both going to be there signing autographs and appearing and addressing the fans.
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, things happen, and people work elsewhere, and they're going to get hurt, and that's the nature of the business. And I remember Joey hit me up the other day and telling me that he was hurt, and I'm like, hey man, your health and safety is more important. Obviously you can't go, but Joe, like I said, Joey's still there, appearing. Thunder Rosa also, suffered an injury during this past weekend, but she'll still be there and appearing. to address the crowd, because I know a lot of people overall were really looking forward to seeing Thunder Rosa for the first time on the East Coast. So.
Yeah, that was going to be amazing. But I have a lot of respect for them both showing up, even though they're hurt, still being there for the fans and doing what they can, what they can. So I really have a lot of respect for both of them for doing that.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, too, also appearing is the Native American WWE legend Tatanka, which is also very cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they can't go wrong for the WWE star. And I think he was, he appeared on WWE TV. I don't know if he was in the Rumble or not, or this year or not, but definitely a good hand and talent to have on hand, and come on out and see Tatanka on Friday.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was this year or last year. But it's interesting. I actually did meet him once, King of Trios, and I talked to him and actually Too Cold Scorpio. And we talked about the differences in the WWE from the 90s to now, and it was really interesting. So he's a really interesting guy. He's lived through a lot of history, so he's a really interesting person to talk to. So I think fans are really going to enjoy meeting and greeting with him on Friday. I definitely want to talk about the rest of the matches. The card is amazing. The NWA Women's Championship, the Bullet Babe, Amber O'Neal Gallows, is taking on Penelope Ford, who also had kind of a rough weekend there at the Zandig tournament. And what's really cool about this, in addition to these ladies who, Amber O'Neal Gallows is very, very talented. She's a very strong veteran, very tough, and Penelope's rising and kind of a new star, so it's nice to see her test herself against somebody like Amber. But what's really cool is the special guest referee.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with primetime Amy Lee. She's gonna lay down the law and order and keep everything intact in the battle of the Blondes. Like you said, Penelope's up and coming. So it's definitely I would say her biggest test as far as one-on-one competition in the ring. And Amber's been on a roll this year. I think she's been undefeated for quite some time, and the reigning and defending NWA Women's Champion. And for me personally, it's pretty cool to have an NWA title defense in the area, because Dennis Caruso, for years with NWA New Jersey, used to run the Woodbury area, right. the Woodbury National Art Armory that's down the street from the community center. So there's a lot of history of the NWA title, women's title, in general in that area. So pretty cool for me as a promoter to be able to have an NWA title match on the card. So now it's going to be a great women's contest, battle of the Blondes. Primetime Amy Lee's going to keep the law in order. Should be a fun scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't mess with Amy Lee. She's a WSU Hall of Famer and definitely a tough woman. So that's going to be really awesome to see. And then there's going to be a 4-corner tag team match. It's going to be Preacher and Sozio versus Jimmy Lloyd and Yuta, Kurt Robinson and Frankie Picard, and then Dan O'Hare and Shalak. So that's going to be some young guys in that match, along with some veterans like Sozio. He's been around for a number of years. That's going to be a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, there's a lot of grievances in that tag match. Some guys get along and some guys don't get along with their tag team partner, with a lot of continuity going on from the Dojo Wars developmental program for CZW in the area. A lot of these guys have worked each other countless times, mixed in with the veterans and Sozio and Preacher, and pretty big stakes on the line too, as far as the 4-way tag team survival, because the winners will become the number 1 contenders for a future tag team title shot, which will later be crowned later that night, and hopefully success of the first show leading to another, and then we'll eventually get that shot. So a lot on the line for all 4 teams.
Right, that's huge. I mean, to come out of the bat, your first night, debut, and your first match in an organization and win a number 1 contender shot, that's huge. So that's going to be a really great matchup. One I think is going to be really cool, and I'm definitely looking forward to checking out, is the Styles Clash match. It's going to be 100% pure Tony Deppen, who is just amazing, versus Jeff Cannonball, who's another just absolutely amazing performer.
Both dudes have been killing it pretty much everywhere they've gone lately. Tony Deppen was the unknown guy, that no one knew about, that On Point Wrestling gave an opportunity to, and he took that opportunity and just ran with it, and he's a main event guy at On Point Wrestling now. So definitely wanted to have Tony involved with H2O. Cannonball's been killing it, everywhere he's going. He didn't have a lot of history, and I think these two have just been on fire as far as, Northeast independent wrestling goes, and to throw them in there together, see what happens, keep that fire going, a little bit of style clash. I think it'll be definitely, could be one of those sleeper, matches that could steal the show on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony Deppen, I've said this on Twitter, after his match with On Point champion Joey Janela, that title match, pure warrior, that guy. 100% pure warrior is what he should change that to. And Jeff Cannonball's been around, and he's really making a name for himself and spreading out. And this weekend I saw him take on Juan Francisco de Coronado. So another smaller, faster man, and really great chemistry in that match. And Jeff was really able to use his size to his advantage and really just have a great match and defeat Coronado, who just debuted for Ring of Honor. So he was able to get a big win going into this Friday.
That's good for Cannonball, good for Dan Lyle. We had him at one point in the past too. So now that's a good sign for things to come for Cannonball and Deppen, and it's good to hear.
Absolutely, I think they're going to just continue the streak both of them are on. No matter who wins, I think both of them are just going to continue to grow and rise as stars, which is great, in this area. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Okay, and then we have a tag match, which is very, very cool. It's the first time ever. The Nation of Intoxication, Danny Havoc and Connor Claxton are teaming up to take on Notorious Inc., which is Devin Moore and Drew Blood. And there's just so much talent in this. Really, Danny Havoc, Devin Moore, and Drew Blood are just awesome veterans. They've been around for years. And Connor Claxton he's really making a name for himself as well around the area and in different death matches. I know he's in a few death match tournaments this year, so he's really making a name for himself too.
Oh, 100%. They're all four guys know each other very well. Obviously, I think there'll probably be that little bit of tension and differences because Devin Moore he's a member of the Nation of Intoxication elsewhere,
right.
But he's also been a long-time tag team partner and friend of Drew Blood. So there's going to be the allegiances and friendships lie, but overall, it is the main event on Friday night, and I think we'll put those friendships aside for the time being and fight to vie to become the first ever H2O Tag Team Champions in an ODQ match where you'll probably see tables and chairs and other goodies that evening. But now I'm looking forward to it. I know all four guys are very excited that they're main event in the first H2O show, and it means a lot to me that they're excited. So it should be good.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. With no DQs, Connor always has his ever-present wrench. Danny Havoc just won Zandig's Tournament of Survival, so we know he knows how to go in any kind of deathmatch or hardcore situation. Definitely no DQs is comfortable for him. Same thing with Devin Moore and Drew Blood. All these guys are used to that stipulation, and I think it'll allow them to kind of supplement their wrestling skill and show off some of their creativity in that match. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to that. I think those are two really great pairs, and that's really going to be an amazing match. So definitely main event worthy, really anywhere. So that's really awesome. It's a great addition to this card. And then there's going to be a fatal four-way. It's the Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore Spotlight match. And this one has really some cool names in it. Jigsaw, Sunny Kiss, Arcadia, and Blackwater. So some really amazingly talented wrestlers and physical guys in terms of like Jigsaw, who is just absolutely outstanding. Really. We haven't seen a lot of him in the area, too, which is nice. He's been in New York, and he's been doing Global Force Wrestling, but he hasn't really been in this area since he's parted ways with Chikara. Sunny Kiss is, if you've seen him wrestle, this man, his agility and his muscle control is just amazing. He can do stuff and there's a lot of guys who have that kind of skill, but not a lot of guys who have the talent that guy does, and his abilities. Arcadia has been around, for years, and he's such a solid, cruiserweight, light heavyweight type wrestler. Super solid, and he's got a new kind of nasty attitude. And Blackwater definitely has a nasty attitude.
I think all four guys, I think Arcadia especially, very underrated for the the amount of time that he's been in the business. Blackwater's been tearing that up at Dojo Wars, and I think people have only seen a little bit of what he can do. I think as far as the amount of talent that is in the match, Blackwater, I think this is definitely really good exposure for him for working with a lot of really good talent. Jigsaw, constantly professional, been around a long time, Impact, Ring of Honor, he's